Hello Internet, I'm Zahn, and welcome to another Let's Play. Now looking at the title screen that we're currently staring at, you might have a few questions. As you can see, this is the title screen for God Hand. Now with the most recent Let's Play of Cave Story finishing up, I thought to myself, having just finished a pretty decently challenging platform game, I think I'd rather switch things up for the next Let's Play, and I think I'd rather go back and play something fun. And then I decided I'm going to play God Hand. Now, I think I've probably spoken a little bit on this game throughout the other Let's Play videos. This will be the first one on PS2 that I've played for the channel. Thankfully, I was able to secure a means to record this using the power of technology. And before the cyber police try and get on me for using a certain type of program to play a PS2 game, I would like the record to show that I do own a hard copy of this game. I'll put up a picture of the copy that I have just as proof for the internet. Interestingly enough, the physical PS2 copy of God Hand that I do own was signed by the former Clover folks. It was at PAX West a couple years ago, back before Scalebound was canceled. The Platinum team was over there, and they had a meet and greet where they were giving away signed posters for Scalebound and whatnot. And I was able to get the signatures from Hideki Kamiya, JP Kellums, and Inaba-san from Platinum, and they signed my copy of God Hand, so that's what you're most likely looking at on screen right now. Anyway, as I may have mentioned before, God Hand is one of my all-time favorite games. It is what I consider a classic PS2 game for many reasons, part of it being its infamous legacy as being difficult, but also for being a really memorable, wacky game. So before we jump into another more topical Let's Play or a more old school one, let's put my ineptitude on display for the entire internet to see. We're gonna go ahead and play on normal. I could play on easy, but I think that would be doing a disservice to the game personally. I have played through God Hand several times, so I'm not completely new to it. But normal, we can't play on hard yet because I haven't beaten the game. Normal will work. And I'm sure it'll be challenging enough. Now, for the cutscenes, there's no subtitle option, so I'm just going to be quiet during the cutscenes so you can hear the awesome writing and dialogue.
Gene, this place reeks.
I know. Wait, you don't expect me to mop up, do you?
Come on, those guys are cake.
Not to mention, much sexier than you.
Well, your sexy little friends. They're coming for a dance.
They're still sexier than you are.
Alright, in true old school fashion, as soon as you start up God Hand, you get your opening cinematic and they toss you right the heck in and give you no explanation of mechanics, no intro tutorial prompts, and not even a second to get your bearings before enemies are here and beating you up. What I'll do is take care of the first few, and then once I get a break, I'll actually break down how the mechanics of this game work. As you can see from the basic interface of the game, God Hand's meant to be a third-person, sort of over-the-shoulder, action brawler type game. Alright, We took out the first round of dudes. So let's break things down a bit. This game operates on tank controls. The left analog stick controls the camera and the movement laterally. You can't move the camera up and down. And basically, you have to point our main character, Jean, in the direction you want to go or face. The right analog stick, which would normally be camera controls in a typical third-person game, controls his evades. Hitting the right analog stick side to side, you get quick sidestep hop. Flicking backwards gives you a backflip. And flicking forwards, you have the bob. And each of these evades has a different set of invulnerability windows that you use to dodge attacks. Anything that's hitting horizontally, the bob will dodge. It will not dodge things that are hitting low. The backflip has pretty decent amount of vulnerability and you can get out of range of things pretty easily. Things that are hitting horizontally that you can't duck, the sidestep will get around. For the actual combat, the face buttons on the PS2 controller all correspond to a different attack. I think I need to go save this guy. Because if he dies, I will get points taken off. Let's do that before we move on. The villagers, like the guy these chumps are beating up, will give you stuff if you save them. Well, it's generally a good idea to not let them get the stuff knocked out of them. Alright. Let's talk a little bit about how the combat works. If I go into the pause menu, our basic screen in the techniques section. This shows how our current face buttons are mapped, and this is basically the backbone of God Hand's combat system. I'll talk a little bit about how this game was received and quite a bit of the buzz that was generated around certain publications when this game came out in the late 2000s. But to break down the combat, the square button is our straight combo. Each subsequent press of the square button goes in sequence from these 4 attacks. Starts with left jab, straight one, left hook, uppercut. So if we keep spamming on the square button, we get that punch combo, and then it loops. If we hit triangle, we get the right roundhouse, which is a sweeping kick that can hit enemies all the way around Jean. X button, high side. Side snap kick that can launch enemies if they're in a stun state. Down and square is guard breaker. This is what you use when the enemy throws up a guard, because if you launch an attack at an enemy that's guarding, depending on the difficulty level, which I'll talk about in a bit, they will break you, counter break you, and put you into a staggered state, and they'll usually follow up and hit you. So use the guard break to break open their guards, put them into a stun state themselves, and then follow up a combo. Down and triangle is mapped to charge punch, which you can charge, and this will also juggle enemies, and it might OTG or hit them off the ground as well. I don't use this attack a whole lot. And then down and X is the barrel roll kick. A huge windup, but a pretty powerful attack that will send the enemies flying if it makes contact. Now, part of the beauty of God Hand's gameplay system is the fact that all of these inputs, from the square combos, which is your bread and butter, to each of the individual face buttons and the directions you have here, they can all be customized with weapon or techniques that you pick up throughout the game or buy later from the shop. Which means your Jean can be set up however you want, and there's a ton of techniques that you can get in this game. The way you can slot them in and customize is very, very, very flexible, which means not everyone's going to play the game the same way. If we go back, check out the roulette wheel. There's a set amount of roulette skills that are slotted into the roulette wheel, which I'll demonstrate when we get out of this menu. The game starts with these, and they all do different types of attacks depending on the technique. Divine Smash is a launch technique, get people off you. God Stomp is man-to-man. La Bamba is a splash group attack. Ball Buster, which I will try and use as soon as possible to demonstrate, is a stun attack. Shockwave is a projectile, and Wild Pitch is a group long-range projectile. If we jump back out to the main menu here, I'll demonstrate the use of the different moves just by calming these guys a little bit. Then I'll also explain, I'm going to have to explain the hidden moves as well. That's going to be a little difficult while there's more than one of these guys trying to beat me up here. Alright. There was a secret that I missed here, didn't have enough time to trigger it. That's okay. If we hit R1, it goes into the roulette mode. And the way it works is you scroll through the different attacks before the time runs out, and you stop on the one you want to use, and then it'll throw that attack. And all the ones that I had on the previous screen are arranged in succession, so you can use them to throw at the enemy. There are some hidden moves. I can't demonstrate a couple of them because I need to be fighting an enemy. But if we go into the bob animation with right stick and then hit triangle, it goes into a sweep. That's the only move that combos out of the bob, I believe. But there's a couple other ones. You might have seen me do that high kick where Gene raises his leg really high up, right to his face, and then he hits the enemy off the ground. That's done by hitting up or forward and triangle next to a downed enemy. You can charge it up kind of like the charge punch, except with a kick, and pop them up for an additional juggle. Alright, let's go back to our friend here.
Great.
Fruit restores your health. This card here is a roulette card. My roulette orbs are the pink orbs above my life bar. When I go into this menu, which I can cancel with triangle, each of the attacks uses up 1 to 2 right now of the orbs. And power-ups don't despawn, so I'll leave that here for now and then pick it up later. Oh, there's this guy behind. Another move there that I did, the follow-up juggle that sends enemies flying. After you pop them in the air, if you hit up and triangle, then you do that jumping spin kick, which sends them flying as well. The game, I don't think at any point tells you those hidden moves are there. And I don't even think I knew about those when I first started playing this game. But let's see if we can test out a couple of our roulette techniques. How about on this guy? I'm gonna go up to this guy. I'm gonna use Ball Buster. That attack puts the enemies into an immediate stun state, which allows you to do a follow-up quick time event. And the prompt depends on the type of enemy, but for that guy, putting him into that stun state lets me suplex him.